What would you say to someone who said, I have a Jewish friend, and I've been talking to them about Jesus, and they're really open, but they'd like to meet a Jewish person who believes in Jesus, Yeshua, and I would like it if you could meet with them. So assuming that kind of very friendly engagement, what would you say to the Jewish person when you met them? Can you do that in just, sort of 30 seconds? What would be your strategy?
One of the things we talk about, I think we all agree, is we want to restore the Jewishness of the Jewish gospel to the Jewish people. And so I would probably, first of all, obviously want to make a connection, a relational connection, but then after that, I would talk about the Jewishness of the message. This is a Jewish message. It was given to the Jewish people. I often tell Jewish people, Yeshua himself said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. That when Philip came to him and said, the Gentiles want to talk to you, Jesus said, my time is up. I'm going home. And left it up to the apostles to share the message of the gospel with the Gentiles.
So he didn't forget about the Gentiles.
Didn't forget about the Gentiles. Thank God. And
you were married to?
I'm married to an Italian girl.
Okay,
yeah,
so
a lovely Italian girl.
We're glad he didn't
a lovely,
forget about the
beautiful,
Gentiles.
wonderful cook Italian girl. But also I would try to get around to the 53rd chapter of Isaiah. With any Jewish person. And oftentimes what I like to do is read the chapter to a Jewish person, not letting them know where I'm reading from, and say, who is this? And 9 times out of 10, the Jewish person will say to me, that's Jesus. And I said, well, that was written 700 years before.
They didn't learn that in synagogue, so they must have been listening to Christmas carols.
Yeah, they heard
something.
They know.
What would you say, Claudia?
Yeah, I would prefer to read the Bible with people. And Isaiah 53, certainly Jeremiah 33, 31, 31, telling that, that for Jewish people to have Brit Hadashah, New Testament, that's what the Lord predicted. And many places like that, that's the best.
Bringing the two testaments together is powerful.
And certainly I would tell about my way to find out Jesus,
so your personal
testimony, because I believe that that's always very good way to talk to people.
Right.
So that's what I would do.
Mike?
Well, first thing I would do is I would listen to see where they're coming from. What are their questions they have? I'd want to know what's keeping them from believing that the Messiah has already come and his name is Yeshua. And of course, the things that Claudia and Rich said, I would do as well. Isaiah 53 is just such a powerful passage. Sharing how I came to faith is a very powerful way to communicate to Jewish people, and helping them understand that you don't have to stop being Jewish to believe in Jesus. Because I hear that so often as I'm sharing with Jewish people, well, I can't believe in Jesus, being Jewish is too important to me. And I say, it's important to me too. And I'm still Jewish, and I serve a Jewish Messiah.
Now, Steve, just help us out here in interpreting Mike for us for just a second, because why would Jewish people even think that Jesus is foreign or hostile? I mean, what has happened throughout history, perhaps, or to form that kind of an attitude?
A tragic history, and that's the sadness of it, that our people, and myself included, my family, we were all taught that Jesus is our enemy, that almost everything bad that's ever happened to us over the last 2,000 years as a Jewish nation, as people, was because of this Jesus person and his followers. So there's been a terrible separation between our people and our Messiah. So we have to really overcome that some way by explaining this is not what this Jesus was really about. This is not what true Jesus people or Christians would ever do to our people. He came to bring us to his Father.
And so in some sense, a Messianic congregation corporately makes the statement, without even trying, that you can be Jewish and believe in Jesus. That's right. And so that's one of the testimonies of a Messianic congregation. Jesus is not only our Messiah, but he's the Jewish Messiah for all. And we can worship him and we can love him, and we don't have to leave our Jewishness at the door.
and you can maintain your Jewish identity as a believer.
As a believer.
That's a huge problem.
And sometimes our
evangelism.
Jewish identity becomes even stronger, we find. And that's something that we like to share with Jewish people, that I've never been as in love with my father's traditions, my father's faith, as when I became a believer in Yeshua. That has increased my life in it.
Roy, talking about interpretations, and that was great. Interpret Steve now for us. I mean, why would that's a phenomenon I've experienced in myself and so many other people. Why is it that when a Jewish person becomes a believer in Jesus, they seem to come to a deeper appreciation for their Jewish identity?
Well, because it all connects. It helps us to I mean, that's what we've been looking for is why are we here? What is our purpose? And so one of the things, in addition to what all of you shared, I also go through our history, because most of us don't even know our history. We were bar mitzvahed, and we say Hebrew, and we learn the stories, but it's not really connected to history. And when we see the history of our people and the history of God's unfolding plan, and relate it to what's happening today with the regathering of the Jewish people to Israel, which is a key thing in many people's hearts, it all falls together, and it makes sense of it. It helps us to understand that history is going places, and that the God of history has chosen us for a purpose and a reason. Most of us figure, if we really are the chosen people, God, could you choose someone else?
Right.
Who needs all this service, this trouble? But when you see the flow of history, and you see how the Lord unfolded His plan, it makes so much sense.
And we become part of that history.
So history is His
That's-
story, and we become part of His story. We find out Abraham was real, and David was
Right.
real, and God is real, and He chose us, and we wonder what our role is.
It's not Bubba Miser's
Right.
grandmother's fairy tales. It's true.
This great story.
And what could be more Jewish than believing in the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the God of Moses, the God of David, the God of Isaiah and Jeremiah, the Jewish Messiah, Jesus?